Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have? Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD and that was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team.
I guess he's not running for a third term. I think there would have been even louder applause for that. Just saying. For more on this, let's bring in Miranda Devine, Ace New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor, and Rich Lowry, National Review editor-in-chief, both of you. Who won the applause thing? It sounded like JD.
Pretty even.
I think it was JD.
Was it even? I don't
pretty
hear,
even, yeah.
I don't hear so well at my age.
To me, it sounded a bit more JD. They were cops, the audience, and maybe they just didn't like to be performing SEALs, so maybe they just got sick of it.
So let me see. Miranda Devine, Marco Rubio is a rock star in the Trump administration and making himself a serious candidate for prez in 2028. From DJing a wedding on the weekend to manning the White House press podium like a boss, from velvet glove diplomacy in Europe to juggling the roles of Secretary of State and National Security Advisor during the middle of a war, Marco Rubio is the administration's secret charm bomb. Miranda, it's only you can write, buddy.
Well, I mean, don't you agree? He's just everywhere. There's a meme about all the different jobs Marco has. They dress him up, you know, they even thought that he would be the next Ayatollah. So he just does it all with this calm competence and good humour. I think some of the speculation has been a little mischievous from the media trying to drive a wedge between JD and Marco Rubio. But also it's Donald Trump. You saw him there. He's been doing it in private. He will, like at dinner parties or, you know, dinners at the White House where Marco Rubio and JD Vance are there, he'll ask his visitors, you know, who do you like best? You know, JD or Marco. What a great ticket. What a dream ticket. But he doesn't say who should be number one, who should be number two. And it's almost an apprentice-like teasing, but they don't mind.
Apprentice.
They don't mind. They don't seem to mind anyway, and they are genuinely good friends, so.
Rich Lowry, are there any other candidates? Like, does National Review want to pitch in any different candidates?
Well, first of all, on Rubio, he's always been charming, but I think what's different now, in 2015, 2016, he was kind of bright and shiny like a new penny. Now he has more gravitas,
Yes.
more seasoning. You had a feeling in the beginning, maybe he knows the answer to the first question. Now you have a feeling he knows the answer to the first question, the second question, third question. And I haven't met anyone in my travels who doesn't like Marco Rubio. So he's definitely having a moment. But if Trump's going to endorse JD and makes that clear to everyone, no one else is going to effectively run, right? So,
we're sure of that.
No, we're not sure of it. We're not sure of it. I don't think Trump's sure of it. And you can just see he loves being entertained by these sort of contests as well.
Sure.
So that might stay his hand.
So, Miranda, the question I've been dying to ask you ever since I read this column, what is his DJ nickname?
I don't know.
It's not. I looked everywhere in here. I read the column 2 or 3 times. He doesn't want to tell anybody. I thought for sure you'd get the scoop.
No, he was asked that, and he said, "You don't want to know my DJ nickname." I suspect he doesn't actually have one because he just filled in for a relative's, you know, for a family wedding. But I think it's hilarious the way he actually held that press conference. It went on for 50 minutes plus.
And it was everything. It covered all the ground, not just foreign policy.
Oh, everything. And he was so versatile and funny. And I think with the DJing, he seemed to love that question because it kind of humanises him. And instead of just giving a boring answer, he said, "Oh, you wouldn't want to know that name," as if there was something serious there.
That's a cute answer.
So to get way ahead of ourselves, right? I think the problem for a Republican in 28 is how do you turn out the Trump voters the way Trump does? It seems unlikely anyone's going to do that. And if you can't do that, how do you find other ways to build on the coalition? And with Rubio, at least in theory, you see he could win a little bit more with Latinos, maybe also win a little bit more with college-educated whites.
He's going to take Cuba. He's going to take Cuba. It's going to be like Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, that's the other thing, Larry. Is like
going up the hill with San Juan Hill. That's what it was.
Why would Rubio give up this job? I think that's a big consideration. Like, when would he actually quit this job? It's a dream job. He's more powerful than lots of heads of states. Yeah, jobs.
Because is he the first since Henry Kissinger?
To be NSA.
Both state
yeah.
and Kissinger did it during the Ford administration for a while. It's
Yeah.
close to 50 years ago.
And these are
Man,
things
that's a heck of a thing.
These are priorities he cared about all his adult life, especially Cuba, right? So is he going to really say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go drive around Iowa in a rented car?
Imagine his parents, you know, they are exiles from Cuba, and he feels it so deeply. And imagine how passionate he will be about that when it happens.
Is he a growth guy? Is he, you know, my wing of the party? Is he a supply sider? Is he a tax cutter?
A little less than he used to be, but I think that's still there. I think he'd be kind of a fusionist, kind of a Trump-like fusionist, a foot in the populist camp and a foot in the more traditional camp.
He'd have to be.
Is J.D. Vance a growth guy?
More fully populist.
Populist meaning industrial policy, government intervention.
More role for government.
He's very in favor of technical innovation and AI and all that, but he's much more purely a populist than anyone else in the Republican Party.
Lower marginal tax rates.
That's not his
Which
thing.
we convinced Trump 10 years ago.
You got to work on JD too.
I think we have to work on a lot of Republicans.
I think
that's the thing that worries me.
JD's really still a work in progress, I think, in a lot of ways, and he is young, you know, for a president. So
How old is he?
he's 41 now.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, he could wait for 2 more presidential elections. He'd still only be early 50s.
Yeah, but it's hard when you've been a heartbeat away for 4 years and leading in almost all the polls. There's some exceptions now. Not to go, I think, would be an extraordinary decision for him, assuming he's running.
If Marco Rubio takes Cuba, I don't know, Katie barred the door.
Really?
Worked for Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Think about it. Got to get the history down here.
Is Marco going to be a combatant like Teddy Roosevelt in this campaign?
He might be. He might actually
At least be memes of him.
As you say, he's growing in stature.
And he did say during that press conference, he was asked a question about Cuba. He answered it very succinctly, and then he said, "We're not doing that right now.
Not today.
Like we're doing Iran now. Next is Cuba." Yeah.
All right, Miranda Devine and Rich Lowry. Of course, it'd be good if the GOP won the midterms first before we got to 28.
Well, Newt Gingrich, who I interviewed yesterday, is very optimistic. He reckons that it'll be a rout.
All right. Anyway, next up, talking about midterms and other things, we're going to talk to the great upstate New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Stick with Kudlow. We'll be right back. Thank you both.